The Asset Forfeiture Unit receiving some sharp criticism from some MPs this week. They claim it has a poor performance in attaching assets gained through criminality and recovering money stolen from the state. ACDP, African Christian Democratic Party MP Steve Swart was one of those who waded in and joins me this afternoon. Mr. Swart, thank you very much for joining us. In recent days, we've seen a flurry of activity around the Asset Forfeiture Unit, particularly around the businessman Edward Swart. You saying, though, and some of your colleagues, that the unit is still not doing enough.
Yes, good afternoon, Jeremy. Thanks for having me on your show. Well, the annual report, which was delivered in Parliament, sketches a position which was abysmal in our view and deeply disappointing up to the end of March this year. Then we know we had lockdown. And yes, we welcome the recent steps that have been taken. But if you have a look at the stats that were given to us, the number of cases that they registered was 417 against the target of 510. Confiscation orders was 455 million against the target of 3 billion. The value of freezing orders was 1.95 billion, which is 71% below the 6.3 billion target. And payments to victims, the car account, 190 million, when the last financial year it was 2.88 billion. So it's absolutely shocking. This is a very, very critically important weapon in the fight against corruption, and we are deeply disappointed in their performance. However, we very clearly understand that it is largely due to the high vacancy rate at the Asset Forfeiture Unit, 46% asset rate. So maybe it's a bit unfair to hold them accountable when they don't have the staff. And when we delved a bit deeper, we understand that a lot of their staff, the investigators, analysts, were transferred to the investigating directorate of the NPA. So obviously the answer is now to recruit people so that they can really work hard and, as you've indicated, start seizing assets. This is massively important. We've seen the SIU, you pointed out the SIU. They were there this morning in Parliament. They're doing an exceptional job, and we think we expect better.
Right. Mr. Swart, let me ask you this question, perhaps more for my own curiosity than anything else. How are targets set as far as this unit is concerned? In many ways, it seems like traffic cops being set fine quotas. How do they work that out, and are those targets fair?
Well, that is something, obviously, that one raises, and it depends on the nature of the cases that they are busy with. Some have, and they indicated some in their annual report, if you read it carefully, some high-profile cases, large amounts involved, and so that sets their targets. And so we are quite reasonable. They come to us in Parliament, and they indicate these are the targets that they are setting. Now, just bear in mind that we've got the lockdown that took place, so it could well be that this year, the next financial year is even in a worse situation. But clearly, when you look at their performance, it's not up to scratch, and they can come back to us and say, look, the targets they set were too high. But we've known in the past that when Willie Hofmeyer was head of the Asset Forfeiture Unit, they used to collect billions of rands. And so the amounts, we know that billions of rands are being stolen, and so we expect more from the Asset Forfeiture Unit. But correctly, we've got to make sure that they are properly resourced, they've got the proper staff, and what is encouraging is now with the winding down of the Zondo Commission and the regulations that have been changed there with state capture, a lot of their work relates to state capture. We will see that a lot of that evidence will go across to the NPA and, of course, the investigators.
Mr. Swart, let me interrupt you because time is always against us. Specific promises were then made to MPs by the NPA's Shamila Batoy. What were those, and perhaps more importantly, can she deliver on them? Do you believe her?
Well, I think that, we certain undertakings were given, but we fully appreciate the complexity. I myself am a lawyer. The complexity of the forensic cases, they must be case ready. And we can't have another situation like with the Estina Dairy case that was brought tentatively, it was not properly prepared and had to be withdrawn. So a lot of undertakings were given. We are grateful that the investigating directorate, Advocate Cornea, did deliver on certain arrests. We're looking forward to more high-profile arrests because, as we know, South Africans are fed up with high levels of corruption, given the lockdown and given even the COVID-19. And that's where we want to see action, with the COVID-19 corruption that has taken place.
Yeah, I certainly think that most South Africans agree with you when it comes to being fed up with corruption. The ACDP, Steve Swart, thank you very much indeed. Now,